Where's your staff?
Oh, so embarrassing. Sorry, Josh. Hang on.
You broke it! Please break it. Please break it.
We miss you, Josh. Please come back to us soon. Pay no attention to the man crying, holding a stick with a jellyfish on his head.
Yay!
I'm sure they're applauding you, Josh, and not a grown man crying in front of you. Back to here. Those of you wanting to go to dance, you have 1 day left because once we hit Friday, you cannot buy them, so hopefully you get paid by then. Math is after Camp T, and unfortunately it is a 2-day I Learn for Math also.
Yay!
Maybe that's a
I'd
good
rather
thing.
take 3 maths than 1 English.
And speaking of kids yelling, tomorrow most of you get camp information.
I'll be quiet.
If only it was already too late. And so hopefully we can help you out on that one. Hi, Lucas.
You know, like a couple of weeks ago when you said if I had any good friends, is Noah Brown one of those good friends?
He is, but you didn't tell me Noah Brown.
Can I do that now?
Now it's too late.
They already made it.
Yeah, I'm telling all of the counselors who are in their groups today.
Is Tommy like
You are?
Elena?
Okay, so before you said that people in Stroll's class still have homework, right? Is that still true?
Yes.
Cancer! Stop!
Yeah, it's still growing. It's gotten worse since just this morning, I think. But
We know.
Yeah.
so that way you can see the full. I put a little white screen on there so you can see.
It looks like a foot. It's America.
I've been told it looks like many different things.
It's America.
I've been
No,
told
it looks like a foot. 'Cause you said
Hi, Caroline.
My friend is spamming me again. Can I?
Oh, you're fine.
Text her.
I think she's
I need to use very rude words
Oh,
to
it's
text her.
highlighted.
Okay.
I think we left off with. We left off with cuneiform. Cuneiform? Napiform. That's what it was. And what does napiform mean?
means you're fat.
You look like a turnip.
It's just roundish. Hi, Caleb.
Is the yellow stuff at the bottom also projector cancer?
No, that's been there the whole time. That was when they adjusted something, and I can't figure out how to get rid of that either. Maybe new projector will solve that. Hi, Elena.
I just wanted to say that you look very napiform today.
Thank you. I feel well-rounded. So we are on page 18, and an 8 is like 2 napiforms next to each other. You hater child. All right. Where it says you are not the average 17-year-old. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm not the average.
You're not average, period, for so many of you. You are not the average 17-year-old, she told me once. But then again, you weren't the average 15 or 12-year-old either. Well, I had to agree with her there. It's very simple, really. I've only wanted one thing my whole life: to contribute, to help make the world a better place. This sounds amazingly corny, but pushing civilization forward has always been my highest priority. Not with more technology, not with more money, but with more ideas, more meaning. When we studied Darwin last year, his ideas burned off the page. All of us evolving, moving forward, consciously or not. It's probably what was in the back of my mind when I moved those plastic numbers across the refrigerator. It's what's on my mind as I type this now. If Larry was a way to delve into life's deeper meaning, well, count me in. Page 20. Beth made a list of all the kids in our homeroom and who they had been in a past life. We passed the list back and forth, filling in the blanks. Jack Furtado, Victorian cellist. Laura Newman, a Russian cosmonaut, until the bell rang. Out in the hall, my enthusiasm pinned Beth to her locker. You're right! Everything Larry wrote about on his website had something to do with my life. Didn't I tell you? She couldn't have been happier. When I thought about what a consumer glutton my stepfather's girlfriend was, Larry wrote about shopaholics. When I missed my mother, he talked about attachment. It was uncanny. I didn't want to lay it on too thick. Beth's lips shone like a hot mocha coffee. He puts into words exactly what... Don't you give me that look. I just read the words. Into exactly what we're thinking. And trust me, it's going to get a lot more awkward later on. She corrected herself immediately. He or she. But what's with the photos? Are we supposed to guess Larry's identity? Larry has less than 80 possessions. He posts them on his website, a few at a time, daring people to guess who he is. Right now, everyone's clueless. I guess, what can you tell from a pen and a hairbrush? Maybe you'll be lucky, and the next clue will be his or her driver's license. Beth smiled. I'm sure Larry's saving that one for last. I asked her if she wanted to come over later and talk about my ideas for the club. She frowned. I can't. I have to study for that calculus test. Beth was a lot of things. Gorgeous, smart, determined. She also was a terrible liar. I stared her down. Okay, fine. I promised I'd help my father with inventory. I kept staring at her. Darn it, Josh! I told Todd I'd help him clean his basement tonight. Okay? Could you please explain how someone as committed to personal growth as you are can vacuum the basement of the class cretin just because she thinks she's in love with him? I don't want to hear it, Beth barked back. There's no one more inconsistent than you. You're a computer geek who hikes in the woods for days. You hate to buy things, yet you always go to Bloomingdale's. That's different. But forget it. You made your point. She was just gearing up. Look, you're my best friend. We've been bailing each other out since grade school. But not everyone wants to go through life being a hermit, living in the world of ideas. She made quotation marks with her fingers when she said the word ideas. It was one of the only things Beth did that drove me out of my mind. She finally got around to sputtering out the truth about Todd. Okay, he's the only cool guy who's ever liked me. I know he can act like a jerk, but do you mind if I let his popularity rub off on me for a while? For some reason, the bare-bones honesty of her plea only fueled my growing sense of annoyance. I'm out of here. I made those fake quotation marks around the word out. I'm sorry. I'm out of here. I made the fake quotation marks around the word out, then walked toward lit class. I could feel her behind me even before she spun me around to face her. I hate fighting with you. Hate it, hate it, hate it. We stood... I know, I do teen girl really well. We stood silently for a few minutes. It's just that Todd has to have the basement cleaned by the weekend or he can't play. I'm trying to have some school spirit for once. Plus, he knows I'm really good at organizing things. I wanted to tell her those skills might be put to better use than placing football and basketball trophies in chronological order. But I held my tongue. Instead, I told her I had lots to do, tons to do, way too busy to deal with this paltry exchange. I shuffled away as nonchalantly as someone in deep despair could shuffle. My anxiety around Beth could be traced to one thing. I was never included in the endlessly rotating list of guys she had crushes on. Sam, Daniel, Andy, Speedy McDermott, Jack, now Todd. Never, ever me. If the choice were a 2-week exciting vacation in Europe with me, or helping Todd clean his basement, I knew sadly what Beth's choice would be. Next stop in my fun-filled day, guidance with Miss Phillips. I tried to rally myself for the occasion by doing some standing push-ups against my locker. I hadn't even sat down yet when Miss Phillips got to the point. Have you thought about your major, Josh? Miss Phillips had the terrible habit of pushing her glasses up her nose with her middle finger. She did it so often, everyone in school called her Flip-Off Phillips. Those of you who wear glasses, try not to get any ideas in my class. I know, all of a sudden you guys are all like, oh no, my glasses have slipped down. Uh-huh, yeah, I see you. Sassy children.
What if I do it like in a
I played with the zipper of my book bag, then realized I was not giving her my full attention. Larry's sermon, number 22. I looked her in the eyes. I was thinking about philosophy. You know, the meaning of life, that sort of thing. Well, from the point of view of someone who likes to read and likes to think, like you do, it's a good choice. But you realize the job prospects are pretty slim. Well, I'm thinking after the Depression, after the apocalypse, there'll be lots of positions for people with depth and vision. She crinkled up her nose. Her glasses fell. She flipped me the bird again. By the way, if I was a teacher and I wore glasses all the time, every time a kid got sassy, I would crinkle and they'd be like, okay, yes, you should keep talking. But anyway, I don't wear glasses, so.
My glasses.
Yeah, I see every single one of you sassy little children. Look at you. Mr. Broviak, I'm learning. Let's see, depth, vision, flip me. Oh, Josh, I'm not sure it makes sense to plan a career based on an apocalypse. What if there isn't one? No, then I guess I'm screwed. I flashed her a big smile so she couldn't yell at me for the language. I suppose I'm being too materialistic, she said. Studying philosophy at Princeton is a fine and worthy choice. I wasn't sure Miss Phillips's revelation came less from my sales pitch than it did from the fact that it was 10 to 11 and she was dying for a cigarette before her next appointment. I decided to let her off the nicotine hook. I gathered up my things and headed for the door. I've had a soft spot in my heart for Miss Phillips since last year when I spotted her email address in her office and started up a chatty internet conversation with her as a 40-year-old bachelor from Portland. Footnote, I don't care what anyone says, I was not going through her desk. This was actually before catfishing was really a thing. He kind of accidentally catfished his guidance counselor. He was doing it just out of curiosity. It just turned out that it was a horrible thing to do. After months of quiet online flirtation, I invited her to meet me at the Borders coffee shop, only to watch her from the cookbook section. She waited more than 2 hours and 3 cappuccinos before she went home. Okay, that I felt bad about. Miss Phillips was usually tough as nails. I never thought she'd fall that hard. Yes, flirting with a teacher and catfishing them, probably not on the good side of things. Aww. Sorry, did I just ruin someone's plans? I decided to skip the rest of the day. The recurring vision of Beth dressed up like Snow White singing as she swept Todd Terrific's basement was more than I could endure. I grabbed my camera from my locker and opted to check in with my mother instead. When my stepfather visited Mom, and by the way, what happened to his mom?
She died.
Making sure we're aware. Okay. When my stepfather visited Mom, he headed for the cemetery. I, who knew her much better than he did, headed for somewhere that captured her spirit more than a pasture full of granite headstones. The makeup counter at Bloomingdale's. Now, for those of you who are girl people, this probably all makes sense. For those of you who may be boy people, this part may be confusing, so allow me to help.
How is it?
Bloomingdale's is going to be a Macy's, like a big shopping area that you have in a mall. If you've ever gone to the mall, I think here we have like JCPenney's at the HTC mall. And then makeup counter is a place that you can go and they give you like little makeup samples and they can do little makeup on you and stuff like that. There's every chance girl people may have been there. There's every chance boy people that may have been there. Not judging. But if you are unaware, this is a place they have like a little makeup counter and you can sit there and they do like little makeup-y things on you. That's where he goes to connect with his mom. As opposed to the cemetery, because he's like, that's creepy, it's a dead body. He's like, I'd much rather be with her spirit. Now, what he does at the makeup counter, again, is going to be a little weird. Not creepy, just weird. So settle down a little bit.
Have you watched
I slogged through the slush, then grabbed the bus to Chestnut Hill. Ever since we lived in the Boston area, my mother had dragged me here once a month. The waft of perfume hit me like a surge of memories. I plopped down in the tall seat of the Chanel counter. I think it's safe to say I was the only person in that department sitting in the lotus position. So earlier we did the tree pose. Do you guys know lotus position?
Yes.
No.
You look like a flower.
Yes, if that looks like a flower to Bella, then that's what it is. But the lotus position, I could do that and then never walk again. Those of you who have a bit more limber knees, you could probably do it. But for me, that'd be a one-time thing.
No, you have
Do it, bro. Do it.
Wait, how do you not sit?
No, but then you put your foot on your leg.
Yeah,
I can do it.
Not
but
just
I'm
that,
wearing
you'll be able to tuck your feet up on.
And
Yes.
then I don't have to.
Good job, little bindi kids. Ay, ay, ay. Hello, Joshy. How's it going? Marlene, the beauty doctor, has been working here for more than 20 years. With her shiny helmet of dyed black hair and dark eyebrows penciled in for the one she lost years ago. She was Mom's favorite salesperson. It's slow, so you can sit. If I get a client, you know the drill. I saluted, then leaned back to hang out with Mom. My mother bailed on her wealthy parents' expectations as soon as she hit college. Instead of following in their Wall Street footsteps, she hitchhiked cross country, worked tirelessly for civil rights, and made some bad choices in men. One thing from her Grosse Pointe background. Grosse Pointe is a super fancy neighborhood in Michigan, sort of like Carmel, Indiana. Grosse Pointe background she couldn't walk away from, however, was her fondness for upscale moisturizers and creams. She used to spend hours trying to look like she wore no makeup at all. She experimented with pencils and powders like a mad scientist, but always looked the same to me. Now, I can remember perching on the stool as a preschooler, watching Marlene hand Mom tube after tube of lipstick. Mom would ask me which color I preferred, consider my answer, and then buy whichever one she wanted anyway. I waited till Marlene rang someone up at the other end of the counter before I started talking. Okay, Mom, in a nutshell, Beth is cleaning Todd's basement. Peter is dragging me to another lasagna dinner at Catherine's, and I'm nowhere closer to changing the world. A woman with a leopard print hat eyed me as she walked by. I just felt like I'm waiting for my life to begin, that I've wasted 17 years. Then what? 4 years at Princeton? How does that help move civilization forward? And there we have to stop before we find out about the weird thing that he does.
Puts on face mask.
28.
I'm on 82.
Nope, but a good guess.
I'm on 82.
Oh, you. So you know the weird thing he's going to do.
I know.
Oh, so you don't remember the weird thing he's going
Do
to
we
do.
need our book tomorrow?
No, you do not need book tomorrow.
Do we need